We start by revising some of the concepts of previous lecture. Section 4.1 of your book starts with the introduction of relational operators, and we have already discussed those when we were studying pseudocode. There are 6 relational operators, as you can see here: greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, double equal to check equality, and not equal to, which is exclamation sign and an equal to operator. All of you are familiar with these relational operators. So any relational expression eventually evaluates to either true or false, depending upon the values or expressions that are on the left and right hand side of that relational operator. Here are some examples in table 4.3 on page 154, which assumes x to be 10 and y to be 7, and he has written several expressions here and their values here, and a one-line explanation of why that value is false or true. I think there shouldn't be any issue with this. If you look at this example here, in order to again reinforce that thing, कि हर एक्सप्रेशन की वैल्यू या ट्रू है या फॉल्स है, और ट्रू इंटरनली रिप्रेजेंटेड है 1 के ज़रिए और फॉल्स को रिप्रेजेंट किया जा रहा है 0 के ज़रिए. सो इफ़ यू सी हियर x is 5, y is 10, in the bool variable true value he has stored the result of x less than y, and since 5 is less than 10, therefore the true value contains 1, which represents true. And since y and x are not equal, so the result of their equality here, which is stored into the variable false value, is 0, as you can see here from the output of the second statement. So true is represented by 1 and false is represented by 0, which is quite straightforward. And in this table as well, he has explained several some other relational expressions, and you can see their values here. I have advised you already to complete the relevant checkpoint exercises, so go through these if you haven't already completed these. So the if statement is used to model one-way selection. If you use it, if you do not use it with else, then it is used to model one-way selection. This is an example of one-way selection. He has calculated the average score, and if the average is greater than some high score, which he has defined to be 95, then this message is displayed, otherwise this message is not displayed. So that's the concept of one-way selection. Okay. There was a question asked on the Google group on Tuesday regarding this code segment. This is an you can say an error that he has placed a semicolon here after the condition. So whenever you place semicolon after the condition, the if statement is completed. So this cout statement, which is outputting x is greater than y, is no longer part of this if statement. So which means that this statement x is greater than y will be displayed regardless of the result of this condition. So you need to make sure that whenever you are writing an if condition in C++, the condition is not followed by the semicolon. If you accidentally put the semicolon there, then the if statement is treated as completed by the compiler, and the cout statement coming after it is displayed regardless of the result of the condition that you put there after the if statement. As you can see from the output of this code segment, x is 0 and y is 10, and he has put the condition here is x y greater than y, that is 0 greater than 10, which is not. But this statement is displayed as you can see from the output, because this condition has no effect on this cout statement. So you should avoid putting a semicolon after the condition here. And there were a couple of questions regarding this program as well. This is not such a big issue, but again, let's discuss that before moving forward. He has declared two variables here, double type A and variable b both contain 1.5, and he has added a very small value into the variable a. So one should assume that now the variable a should be different from b because we have added some value into it, albeit very small one, but it should now be different from b. And here put this condition here that if a is equal to b, then the message is displayed that both are same, and otherwise the message is displayed that both are not same. And as you can see from the output here, that the message is still the first message is displayed, that is both a and b are same. So this value does not have any effect to the value stored in a. Why is this? This is because of the fact that floating point values are represented up to some precision in any programming language. So when you add this very small value into variable a, it has such a negligible effect on the value of a that it still treats a and b to be equal, as is seen by the output of this program. If you see the output here, I have again written the same code here. Let us execute this, and you can observe that the output is equal, although we have added some value into a. If I reduce the precision, if I reduce the precision of this number, and instead of after 0 putting about 15 zeros, I have put about 14 zeros here. So I have removed 1 0 from that. Now let us observe the output. Now the output is not equal, which means that now this number has lesser precision. So this has an effect on the value of a, while adding the original number which he has in the book does not affect the value of a. Again, the author has advised in this line, to prevent round of error from causing this type of problem, you should stick with greater than and less than comparisons with floating point numbers. In order to illustrate that through an example, let us look at this code segment. Here I have declared a variable c to be 1, d to be 3, and I am checking the result of the division of c and d. So if c divided by d is equal to I'm checking whether it is equal to 0.33. So one should assume that 1 by 3 is equal to 0.33. Let us see what the output is in this case. The output comes out to be not equal. Although one might assume that 1 by 3 is equal to 0.33, but the output is showing to be not equal. If I increase the number of 3's, let's say there are 10, I have put 10 3's after the decimal point here. Execute it, and still the output is not equal. Let us put another 5 3's here. So these are now 15 digits of precision after the decimal point. Still the output is not equal. What if I put another 3 here? Sorry, another 3 here. Now the output finally is equal. So the point is that the result of the division of 1 by 3 is 0.33333 up to 16 decimal places. And unless I compare it with such a big number containing 16 3's after the decimal point, otherwise the result will not come out to be equal. So the author has warned here that whenever you are comparing equality of your result with a specific floating point values, you should avoid using the double equal to operator. Instead, you should use greater than or less than or greater than equal to or less than equal to operators. So if I have to check whether the result is 0.333 something of this expression, I should put it like this: if c by d is greater than or equal to 0.33 and c by d is less than let's suppose 34, then I'm reasonably sure that result is 0.333. So now let us execute this. Now the output is equal. So for all practical purposes, the result of this division is greater than or equal to 0.33 and it is less than 0.34. Therefore, I can say that result is equal to 0.33. So instead of putting equal to here to check the result of this expression C by D, I should use greater than equal to or less than operators depending upon the problem that I am solving. So I hope this thing is now clear. Now he has discussed an important concept after discussing the previous example. Previously, we have seen that whenever a relation expression is true, it has the value 1, and whenever it is false, it has the value 0. But in C++, anything other than 0 is considered to be true, and 0 is considered to be false. I think we have discussed that during our lectures before these vacations as well. So 0 is considered to be a false value, and any non-zero value is treated to be true. So in order to illustrate that, let's say I have some integer variable temp here which contains 5, and I want to simply check if temp cout true, else cout a message, let's suppose false. So I have not put a relation expression here, rather I have put an integer variable here. But any expression in C++ has a truth value. This example illustrates that. So 5 is non-zero. So this condition will evaluate to be true and output will be this statement. As you can observe, let us execute this. And you can see that output is true. If I put -5 here, still output would be true, since any value other than 0 is considered to be true and 0 is considered to be false, as you can see here. In this example, he has illustrated that whenever you are performing a comparison, you must use double equal to operator instead of a single equal to, because single equal to, as we have seen, is used for assignment operator in C++. So he has calculated the average of 3 scores taken from the user, and he wants to display, if the average is 100, he wants to display that that's the perfect score. Let's look at the sample run here. The user enters 3 values 80, 90, 70. Average is calculated to be 80. In तीनों नंबरों की average 80 है, but the message is still displayed. This message is still displayed that that's a perfect score, although the student has not got perfect scores here. So we want this message to be displayed only if the average is exactly 100. That is, the student has secured 100 marks in 3 tests, each of the 3 tests. So the problem here is that instead of putting double equal to here, he has put a single equal to. So this becomes an assignment statement, and the value of any assignment statement is the value which is assigned to the variable on the left hand side. And since that variable is being assigned 100 here, and 100, since 100 is a non-zero value, therefore the compiler assumes that this condition is true and this message is displayed regardless of the value previously stored into the variable average. If we see a simple example here, let's say we have an integer variable n and it contains 5, let's suppose. Now I want to check whether it contains 100, and instead of putting double equal to here, I accidentally put a single equal to. Let's suppose these are your marks. Perfect score. So if someone has scored 100, then you should display perfect score message for him. But I have put a single equal to here instead of double equal to. So what will happen? although marks variable contains 5 here, but still this message will be displayed, as you can see from the output. So the problem here is that instead of putting a double equal to here, I accidentally put a single equal to. And later on, after the statement, if I simply display the variable's value here, you will observe that the variable now contains 100. And if I display it before this statement, in order to see the difference, so before checking the if condition, the variable marks contained 5, but then this happened, the 100 value was stored into variable marks. Instead of checking equality, the assignment was made and this message was displayed, and later on the variable marks has a corrupt value, has an incorrect value, which is 100. So a simple he has put a simple warning here that you should not confuse double equal to with a single equal to, and we have already seen these operators in pseudocode, so this shouldn't be a problem for you. Again, complete these checkmark exercises if you haven't already done so. Expanding the if statement, we have again seen that already. If there are multiple statements to be executed under an if condition, you must put them inside curly braces. Otherwise, only a single statement can be part of the if block. And if you have more than one statement, if you want more than one statement to be part of the if block, you should put them in curly braces. Again, I have previously also advised you to put the curly braces even if there is a single statement here, so that later on, if you add multiple statements, it is not a problem for you. So so put a pair of curly braces around any if or else block. That is a good programming practice. Again here, go through this example. This shouldn't be so much of an issue for you. Again, he has illustrated the braces issue, that since he has not put the braces here, curly braces here, so only the first statement is guarded by this if condition, and these two cout statements, although they are indented forward, but they are not part of this if block, so they will be executed. This line number 25 and line number 26 will be executed regardless of the result of this condition which he has put in line number 23. So the solution of this problem is to simply put these three statements inside curly braces, and you will get the desired desired output. Once again, checkpoint exercises for you. If else statement is used to model two-way selection, as we have seen in the pseudocode. So the syntax is if, then comes the condition in parentheses, and after that there is the if block which executes if the expression is true, and else block is executed if the expression is false. This should be simple enough for you. There is a flowchart which we have already seen. Flowchart for a two-way selection looks like this. Nested if, again we have seen such examples in pseudocode, and you have also completed your assignment which required in some cases nested if, and in some lab task already you have seen the usage of nested if. And nested if contain nested two-way selection. So if this if, this is the else of this if, and this is the else of this if, and they it is a good programming practice to visually align them through indentation. So although this code is perfectly fine for the compiler, but for readability purposes, you should always indent the if block and the else block one level forward, and we have already seen that you should use tab for indentation. If you want to indent one level, you should use one tab. Instead of using spaces, you should always use tab for indentation. So this is the same code as this one, but it is much easier to read and understand. We have already seen this example in lecture, getting the grade from the score or the marks of a student. He has illustrated the flowchart here and the complete program here. Now in this kind of if-else structure, the levels of indentation will increase very quickly. So if there are 4 or 5 such conditions, if there are 4 such conditions, the different levels of indentation that you will require in your code would be 5. In general, if there are n such conditions, you will require n plus 1 levels of indentation in your code. So in order to resolve that problem, you can use if-else if structure to represent such a code. So this is the same problem which he has discussed here. If else if nested if else अगर आप इस्तेमाल करेंगे तो इसका का स्ट्रक्चर बनेगा जिसके अंदर अगर 4 कंडीशन हैं तो 5 लेवल ऑफ इंडेंटेशन इस्तेमाल करने पड़ेंगे, और अगर आप उसको इफ एल्स इफ से कर लेंगे तो 2 लेवल ऑफ इंडेंटेशन के अंदर ही आप जितनी मर्जी कंडीशन हो उनको हैंडल कर सकते हैं. तो इन जनरल इट इज़ ऑलवेज रिकमेंडेड टू यूज़ दिस वे ऑफ राइटिंग कोड. आल्दो के इसकी लॉजिक और इसकी लॉजिक एग्जैक्टली सेम है, लॉजिक में कोई फ़र्क नहीं है, आउटपुट उसी तरह ही आएगी किसी खास इनपुट के ऊपर, बट दिस इज मच मोर रीडेबल एंड ईजियर टू राइट एज वेल. तमाम डिस्कशन जो यहाँ पे इसने लिखी है उनको एक बार गो थ्रू कर लीजिएगा, और ज़्यादा मुश्किल इसमें नहीं होनी चाहिए. And finally, here he has illustrated to use the last else, which is called the trailing else, to catch errors. So if the test score is greater than equal to 90, the grade is A. Similarly, अगर 80 से ज़्यादा है तो 80s में है तो B है, C है, D है, और similarly F. और अगर मार्क्स उसने नेगेटिव एंटर कर दिए हैं तो in that case you can use the trailing else to catch that invalid test score. We have already seen such examples in our labs previously as well. Go through this, read through this, although ये वही चीज़ें हैं जो हमने पहले ऊपर डिस्कस कर ली हैं. फ्लैग्स का कॉन्सेप्ट भी हमने स्टडी किया था. बुलियन वेरिएबल टिपिकली फ्लैग के तौर पे इस्तेमाल किए जाते हैं. बुलियन वेरिएबल का साइज़ 1 बाइट होता है और उसमें अगेन ट्रू या फॉल्स वैल्यू ही सेव की जा सकती है. सो फॉल्स अगर सेव करना है उसके लिए फॉल्स का कीवर्ड है, ट्रू अगर सेव करना है उसके लिए ट्रू का कीवर्ड है, लेकिन इंटरनली अगेन ट्रू इज रिप्रेजेंटेड एज 1 एंड फॉल्स इज रिप्रेजेंटेड एज 0. सो इफ यू डिस्प्ले any boolean variable, you won't see false or true in the output, rather you will see true as 1 in the output and false as 0. So logical operators, as we have seen in the pseudocode, we have used these 3 logical operators: and, or, and not. In C++, and is represented as double ampersand, or is represented by double vertical bar, and not is represented by the exclamation operator. So if you want to AND 2 condition, that is you want to check whether first condition is true and the second condition is true, you put the AND operator in between them. And this is the truth table for the AND operator. तो AND का रिजल्ट ट्रू सिर्फ तभी आएगा जब दोनों कंडीशंस ट्रू होंगी और बाकी तीनों केसेस में फॉल्स होगा. Here he has explained a concept of short circuit evaluation. Let us discuss what short circuit evaluation is. So let's suppose that you have two conditions here. Condition 1 and condition 2, and you want both to be true, so you have put an AND in between here, C1 and C2. So the compiler is checking this statement from left to right. So firstly it will check condition 1. If condition 1 happens to be true, then it will check condition 2, and if this happens to be true, only then the whole result of this condition, compound condition, will be true, and this if block will be executed. But if condition 1 is false, then regardless of the result of condition 2, the result of this whole condition, this big condition, will be false, because if this is false and this is true, the result will be false, and if this is false and this is false, then the result will be false as well. So if you check the first condition here and result is false, there is no need to check the second condition, and this is what the compiler does in order to make things more efficient. And इसी concept का नाम, जो technical नाम दिया जाता है, that is called short circuit evaluation, and that is used to make the execution of such conditions more. But again, short circuit evaluation won't be performed if condition 1 is true. So if condition 1 is true, still it needs to check whether condition 2 is true or false, and it will check the second condition in that case. Let us talk about OR here, the logical operator OR. In case of OR, if the first condition happens to be true, then there is no need to check the second condition, because the result will be true regardless of the result of this second condition, whether it is true or whether it is false. So short circuit evaluation is performed in the case of OR logical operator if the first condition is true, and if the first condition is false, then the second condition is checked and decision is made accordingly whether this condition happens to be true or false. So in summary, if you have two conditions ANDed together and the first happens to be false, then the second one won't be checked by the compiler. Similarly, if you have the OR logical operator and the first condition happens to be true, then the second condition won't be checked. So I hope that is clear now. And this is how you would normally put, this is an example of the usage of AND operator. So if the user has input y, which indicates yes to be to the answer of employed question and recent grad question, then the answer, this message is displayed, otherwise this other message is displayed from the else block. So you can combine together multiple conditions through these logical operators. And this is an example of OR, that if the temperature is less than 20 or if the temperature is greater than 100. So legal range is between 20 and 100, and if the temperature falls below 20 or goes above 100, then the temperature is in danger zone message should be displayed. This is the truth table for OR. And NOT operator is a unary operator, is used to negate the result of any condition. So if the condition result is true and if you not it, the result will become false, and if it is false, उसको not करने से true आ जाएगा result. प्रेसिडेंस अगर बात करें इन लॉजिकल ऑपरेटर्स की, तो यूनिरी ऑपरेटर नॉट की इन तीनों में से सबसे हाईएस्ट है, उसके बाद एंड की है और उसके नीचे और की है. कि अगर आपने लेट्स सपोज ये कंडीशन लगाई है, पेरेंथिस का इस्तेमाल इन कंडीशन के अंदर नहीं किया, तो सिंस एंड हैज अ हायर प्रेसिडेंस एज कंपेयर टू और, सो दिस पार्ट विल बी एग्जीक्यूटेड फर्स्ट, this part of the condition will be evaluated, and then the result will be ORed with condition C1. If you want this to be evaluated first, then you can always use parentheses to override the default order of precedence of these logical operators. न्यूमेरिक रेंजेस अगर आपने चेक करनी है लॉजिकल ऑपरेटर्स के थ्रू, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपने चेक करना है कि किसी वैल्यू वेरिएबल एक्स 20 to 40 बोथ इंक्लूसिव की रेंज में है, तो इस तरह से उसे पुट कर सकते हैं. एक्स इज ग्रेटर दैन इक्वल टू 20 एंड एक्स इज लेस दैन इक्वल टू 40, दैन इट इज एन एक्सेप्टेबल रेंज. अगर रिवर्स कंडीशन लगानी है तो उसके लिए आप इस तरह से चेक लगा सकते हैं कि अगर लेस दैन 20 है या ग्रेटर दैन 40 है, तो आउटपुट ऑफ मैसेज के वो आउटसाइड द एक्सेप्टेबल रेंज है. हमने ये सूडो कोड के उस पर डिस्कस किए थे, और उस वक्त हमने डिमॉर्गन्स लॉ की भी आपको याद होगा बात की थी, तो वही कॉन्सेप्ट यहाँ पे भी है. सिर्फ डिफरेंस अब ये है कि वो एंड पूरा लिखने की बजाय अब ये ऑपरेटर यूज़ करेंगे, और पूरा लिखने की बजाय ये वाला ऑपरेटर डबल वर्टिकल बार वाला ऑपरेटर इस्तेमाल करेंगे C++ में. इन चेकपॉइंट एक्सरसाइज को भी कंप्लीट कर लीजिएगा, अच्छी प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगी. अच्छा जी, फाइनली इन सेक्शन 4.10 he has discussed menu based programs. Menu based programs are again not that difficult to understand. First of all, a menu of options is displayed to the user. You select one of the options. So हेल्थ क्लब मेंबरशिप का एक सैम्पल प्रोग्राम उसमें डिस्कस किया है. यहाँ पे 3 तरह की मेंबरशिप कैटेगरीज हैं: स्टैंडर्ड अडल्ट, चाइल्ड की मेंबरशिप, सीनियर सिटीजन की मेंबरशिप. और चौथी ऑप्शन यूज़र को दी जा रही है क्विट करने के लिए। यूज़र से चॉइस ली जाती है, यूज़र 1 2 3 4 में से कोई एंटर करेगा और उसके मुताबिक फिर एक्शन लिया जाएगा। तो नीचे एक इफ एल्स इफ स्ट्रक्चर होगा जो कि चेक कर रहा होगा कि यूज़र ने पहली चॉइस एंटर की है तो डू दिस थिंग, ये वाला काम करो, अगर दूसरी चॉइस एंटर की है तो ये वाला काम करो, एंड सो ऑन। तो एनी मेन्यू बेस्ड प्रोग्राम्स विच विल बी रिक्वायर्ड टू राइट इन कमिंग डेज इन योर नेक्स्ट लैब और इन योर नेक्स्ट असाइनमेंट, कोई भी मेन्यू बेस्ड प्रोग्राम इस तरह से लिखा जाएगा जिसके अंदर पहले यूज़र को मेन्यू डिस्प्ले होगा और उसके बाद चॉइस ली जाएगी और चॉइस की बेसिस पे इफ एल्स इफ स्ट्रक्चर के थ्रू उसको चेक किया जाएगा। और यहाँ पे भी देखें ट्रेडिंग एल्स के थ्रू वो एरर को कैच कर रहा है कि अगर यूज़र ने ये चॉइस भी नहीं एंटर की, अडल्ट चॉइस उसने कॉन्स्टेंट के तौर पे ऊपर डिफाइन किया है 1 2 3 और क्विट वाली चॉइस को 4 का है, तो अगर यूज़र ने 1 2 3 4 के अलावा कोई भी नंबर एंटर कर दिया है तो ये वाला मैसेज डिस्प्ले हो जाएगा। तो ट्रेडिंग एल्स के थ्रू आप इनवैलिड इनपुट का चेक भी लगा सकते हैं। और इस केस में वो चेक एंड में लगाना पड़ेगा। अगर आप वो चेक शुरू में लगाना चाहते हैं तो वो शुरू में भी आप लॉजिकल ऑपरेटर यूज़ करके लगा सकते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल जहाँ पे अगर मैं चेक करना चाहता हूँ कि यूज़र ने चॉइस 1 से छोटी दे दी है या 4 से बड़ी दे दी है तो उसको शुरू में एरर मैसेज डिस्प्ले कर दो, प्लीज डू इट like this. If choice which is a variable containing the user's choice is less than 1 or choice is greater than 4, so display some kind of error message that you have made an invalid choice, and then you can put the if else structure here to check rest of the cases, that if choice is equal to 1 तब क्या करना है, else if choice is equal to 2 तो तब क्या करना है, and so on so forth. So it is up to you, आप एरर वाला चेक शुरू में लगाते हैं या एंड में लगाते हैं। अगर ट्रेलिंग एल्स को यूज़ करना चाहते हैं शुरू में भी लगा सकते हैं, जैसा कि हमने यहाँ पे देख लिया। वैलिडेटिंग यूज़र इनपुट, ये भी हम काफ़ी पहले से इसकी बात कर रहे हैं कि यूज़र की जो भी इनपुट आ रही है उसको वैलिडेट करना है। तो यहाँ पे वो मीन स्कोर और मैक्स स्कोर के मीन स्कोर 0 है, मैक्स स्कोर 100 है, किसी टेस्ट के स्कोर की बात हो रही है, और अगर वो ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू मीन स्कोर है, लेस देन इक्वल टू एंड लेस देन इक्वल टू मैक्स स्कोर है तो तभी वो वैलिड है, तभी उसका ग्रेड कैलकुलेट होगा। अदरवाइज अगर 0 से छोटा स्कोर एंटर कर दिया या 100 से बड़ा स्कोर एंटर कर दिया तो दिस मैसेज विल बी डिस्प्लेड विच विल इंडिकेट टू द यूज़र कि आपने एक इनवैलिड वैल्यू एंटर की है। वैलिड वैल्यू 0 से लेके 100 की रेंज के अंदर है, उसके अंदर एंटर करें। कंपेयरिंग करेक्टर्स की अगर बात करें तो करेक्टर्स एज वी हैव सीन आर इंटरनली रिप्रेजेंटेड एज ASCII codes. So whenever you talk about comparing two characters, let us go into this footing here. Let's say I have a character variable C1 here which contains A, and character variable C2 here which contains B, and I want to check whether C1 is less than C2, so I want to output, let's suppose, yes, else I want to output no. So if C1 is less than C2 I want to output yes, otherwise I want to output no. So how will this comparison be made? Since C1 contains A, so as you know A का ASCII code small a का ASCII code है 97 और small b का है 98. So their ASCII codes will be compared, and since ASCII code of C1 is 97 which is less than the ASCII code of C2, so output should be yes. Let us verify that. Output is yes as expected. Let's suppose I have capital A here. As you remember, the ASCII code of capital A is 65. So now 65 will be compared with 98, and since 65 is less than 98 in this case as well, you will see the output yes. So whenever you compare two characters, their ASCII codes, their internal ASCII codes are actually compared, and then the CN is made. He has put some sample ASCII values here. स्पेस का आस्की कोड ऐसे 32 है, कैपिटल ए से जी 65 to 90 है, स्मॉल ए टू जी 97 to 122 है, 0 to 9 के जो डिजिट्स हैं आपके उसके आस्की कोड 48 से 57 की रेंज में है, और डॉट फुल स्टॉप का आस्की कोड 46 है। और किताब की अपेंडिक्स में आपको पूरा आस्की कोड का टेबल अपेंडिक्स ए में मिल जाएगा। सो आपने यूज़र से लेट्स सपोज एक करेक्टर लिया, लेट्स सपोज के हम यूज़र से कोई भी एक करेक्टर लेते हैं गेट के थ्रू, जिसका इस्तेमाल हमने देखा था वेकेशन से पहले लास्ट लेक्चर के अंदर। तो गेट के थ्रू आपने करेक्टर लिया और उसके बाद उसे चेक करना चाहते हैं कि अगर वो डिजिट है तो यू कैन अगेन पुट दिस कंपाउंड कंडीशन हेयर, इफ सी एच इज ग्रेटर दैन इक्वल टू 0 एंड लेस दैन इक्वल टू 9, इट मीन्स के यूज़र ने एक डिजिट एंटर किया है। सिमिलरली इस तरह की कंडीशन कैपिटल अल्फ़ाबेट के लिए भी लगाई जा सकती है, स्मॉल केस के अल्फ़ाबेट के लिए लगाई जा सकती है, और ट्रेलिंग एल्स के थ्रू वो डिस्प्ले कर रहा है कि आपने ना डिजिट एंटर किया है ना ही कोई लेटर कोई और कैरेक्टर एंटर किया है, वो वाला मैसेज डिस्प्ले कर रहा है। सिमिलरली आप स्ट्रिंग्स को भी कंपेयर कर सकते हैं। उसे यहाँ पे दो स्ट्रिंग्स बनाई हैं, ए बी सी है, एक्स वाई जी है, और दोनों को कंपेयर कर रहा है, एंड सिंस ए बी सी इज लेस देन एक्स वाई जी, so this message this condition will happen to be true and this message should be displayed in this particular example. So let us go into more details of how strings are compared. Let's comment this out. Let's say I have ABC in small case in string S1 and DEF in the string S2. So what is the meaning of this expression? Is S1 less than S2? Here first of all we are not going to compare strings based on their length. So length have nothing to do with this comparison. So this comparison will be done based upon the ASCII codes of the characters involved within these two strings. So result in this case will come out to be yes, since ABC is less than DEF, because due to the simple reason that if these two strings are, let's say, part of some dictionary, then this string will come before this string DEF. So the string coming before is considered smaller than the other string. Let us execute this and observe the output. Output is yes, that ABC is less than DEF. So how is this comparison made? So this comparison is made character by character. Let's say the first string contains A, B, C, and the other strings contain, the second string contains A, B, D, let's suppose. So comparison will be made between these two. First of all, A and A will be compared, and since they are equal, so I cannot decide whether one is smaller or other is larger. B, second character B, again no decision can be made. Third character is C, and here the third character is D, so here the decision will be made since C is less than D based on their ASCII codes. Therefore this string will be considered smaller than this string. Let us change the first string. Let's say okay, first string was A, B, C, D, E, F. What will happen in this case? Once again, first character are equal, no decision can be made. Second characters are equal, no decision can be made. At the third character, here we have C, and here in the second string we have D. Since C is less than D, so therefore this string is considered smaller than this string. Although it contains many more characters, but again smaller और larger का concept यहाँ पे ये है, alphabetically smaller है ये string इससे, length का उससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. Let's say I had this string here. This is another example scenario. First character is A, here the first character is A, B, B, D, D, and then one of the string is finished and the other string has some characters left. So the string which is finished first in this case the second string is considered smaller than the first one in this particular case. Let's say I had some other characters here. Let's say X. So first three characters are equal. When you come to the fourth character, this string has E in it, and the other string has, second string has X in it. Since X has a larger ASCII code as compared to E, Therefore, this string will be considered larger as compared to this string. So all such comparisons are made based upon the ASCII values of the characters within those strings. Let us look at another example. Let's say a string S1 contains ABC in small case and string S2 contains ABC in capital case. So what will be the output in this case? Since the first character is different, so decision will be made here, right here at the first character. So whenever it is performing comparison between two strings, the decision is made at the first character which is different in those two strings. Here I have A and in the second string I have capital A. Now since small a has ASCII code 97 and capital A has ASCII code 65. So when it is comparing S1 and determining whether it is less than S2, the result will come out to be false, since the character A has ASCII code 97 and character capital A has ASCII code 65. Since 97 is not less than 65, therefore this string S1 cannot be considered smaller than string S2. So output should be no in this case, as you can see from here. Similarly, any such comparison between strings can be made using any of the 6 relational operators. लेस देन के शुरू करना चाह रहे हैं, लेस देन ग्रेटर देन, लेस देन इक्वल टू के थ्रू, ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू के थ्रू, और इक्वल टू के थ्रू इक्वलिटी का, और नॉट इक्वल टू के थ्रू दो स्ट्रिंग्स की इनइक्वलिटी को डिटरमिन किया जा सकता है. इस केस में सिंस दीज टू स्ट्रिंग्स आर नॉट इक्वल, देयरफॉर द आउटपुट वुड बी यस, एज यू कैन सी. सो इसके अंदर मुख्तलिफ तरह की और एग्जांपल्स पुट करके, किताब ने जो एक दो एग्जांपल दिए हैं उनको भी देख लीजिएगा, और इसके अंदर मुख्तलिफ तरह की स्ट्रिंग्स पुट करके एक बार कन्विंस कर लें अपने आप को कि हाँ जी स्ट्रिंग्स का कंपैरिजन किस तरह से चलता है. इट इज़ वेरी सिंपल, कोई ज़्यादा मसला नहीं है इसमें. तो यहाँ पर उसने इस एग्जांपल में स्टेट किया है डबल इक्वल टू का ऑपरेटर टू कंपेयर इक्वलिटी ऑफ टू स्ट्रिंग्स. So let us briefly talk about this conditional operator as well. This conditional operator is used in some places. Instead of using the if else, you might use this conditional operator, and this is an operator of C++, which is ternary. That is, it has 3 operands. Normally we have seen operators, most of the operators are binary, and some operators are unary, which have one operator. So this question mark colon operator is an ternary operator. Let's see how it works. Let's say I have a variable a here which contains 3, a variable b which contains 5, and I want to store something into variable c depending upon the comparison of let's say a and b. If I write it using, first of all, using an if else statement, let's say if a is less than b, so store a into c, else store b into c. You can see what we are trying to do here. We are comparing two numbers and moving the smaller one to c. So if a is smaller, then move move a to c, and otherwise move b to c. A better name for variable c in this case would be min, since it is used to store the minimum of a and b. And later on, let's say we are outputting C on screen to see whether it contains the correct value. So in this case, C contains 3, which is the smaller of 3 and 5. So this if else structure can be rewritten in another way through the conditional operator, question mark colon operator. How it can be done? let's say I have C equal to, now this question mark colon operator has three operands. Let us illustrate that here. The first operand, then the question mark, then the second operand, then the colon, and then the third. Here in the first part you put the condition that you want to check. In the second part you put the statement or expression that should be executed when this condition is true, and in the third part after the colon you put the condition, you put the expression or the statement that you want to execute it if this condition is false. So if I want to represent this if else logic through this operator, I will put the condition here in the first part. If A is less than B, then the question mark, and if A is less than B, I want this expression to be evaluated to A, otherwise I want this expression to be evaluated to B. So this if else structure, this whole if else structure has been modeled through the above statement. Let's see whether it works. Let us execute this, and as you can see, C has 3. So what's happening here? Let us try to understand. First of all, this condition, this is an assignment statement, but assignment cannot be made until we have one value on the right hand side. So this right hand side will be evaluated first. This right hand side contains a question mark colon operator. So first of all, this condition will be evaluated is if A is less than B, and note that you do not put if here. Automatically this condition is checked. You do not need to put the if keyword before this condition. So if A is less than B, as is the case here, 3 is less than 5, so this whole right hand side is evaluated to A, and if this condition happens to be true, then this whole right hand side will be evaluated to this third operand, which is B. So if A is less than B, A will go into C, and if not, then B will go into C. In any case, the smaller value will go into C. Let us change the values a bit. Let's say the variable B contains 1. Now it will check whether 3 is A, which contains 3 is less than 1. No, it is not. So the other part, the second part of the statement will be executed, and B will be assigned into C, and C will contain 1 if you see the output. Let's execute this. So output is 1, which is a smaller value of 3 and 1. Now this same statement could be written in another way as well, again using this question mark colon operator. Let's say I check the condition. If this condition is true, I want A to go into C, and otherwise I want B to go into C. So this is the condition which comes before the question mark. If this condition happens to be true, then this statement is executed, and if this condition is false, then this second statement will be executed. This statement has the same meaning as the above statement, so I can use the question mark colon operator, the conditional operator, in either of these two ways. Let us try to execute this and see the output. As you can see, the output is 1, the smaller of these two values. So that's the conditional operator. यहाँ पे भी उसने इसी चीज़ को एक्सप्लेन किया. This is the first expression which is put before the question mark, and this is the second expression which is evaluated if this condition is true, and this is the third expression which is evaluated if this condition is false. So I can represent any simple if else scenario through this conditional operator. Again, I would recommend to use it sparingly, that is इसको कम ही इस्तेमाल करें. ज़्यादातर कोशिश करें कि if else के थ्रू ही काम करें. वजह उसकी ये है कि इसके इस्तेमाल करने से कोड अनरीडेबल हो जाता है, पढ़ना समझना मुश्किल है. इसको पढ़ना ज़्यादा मुश्किल है एज़ कम्पेयर टू पढ़ना और समझना कि इस इफ एल्स स्टेटमेंट के अंदर क्या करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं आप. सो पता होना चाहिए कि काम कैसे करता है, लेकिन कोशिश करें कि इसको हद इम्कान हद तक इस्तेमाल ना करें। ये भी इसने एग्जांपल दी है, इसको भी देख लीजिए कि आवर्स अगर लेस देन मीन आवर्स हैं तो मीन आवर्स जाएगा आवर्स के अंदर, अदरवाइज आवर्स जाएगा। सो इसकी जो चेक पॉइंट एक्सरसाइज है उसके अंदर भी इसको उसने सवालों के अंदर पूछा है, इनको भी गो थ्रू कर लीजिएगा एंड यू शुड बी एबल टू आंसर दीज क्वेश्चंस। अगर नहीं आंसर हो रहे तो इस सेक्शन को एक बार दोबारा पढ़ लीजिएगा या वीडियो को दोबारा से रिवाइंड करके देख लीजिएगा। सो चैप्टर नंबर 4 के अंदर हम वी हैव कवर्ड अप टिल सेक्शन 4.13. For this lecture, I have also asked you to attempt these programming challenges as well. Let us go to them. Firstly, there is problem challenge number 7, time calculator. This is really a simple question. इस तरह के सवाल डिविजन एंड मॉडुलस ऑपरेटर के इस्तेमाल के थ्रू, सिंपल इफ एल्स स्ट्रक्चर के थ्रू हो जाना चाहिए। तो अगर ऑलरेडी नहीं किया तो उसको जाके कर लीजिएगा, ज़्यादा मसला इसमें नहीं। दैन देयर इज़ प्रोग्राम चैलेंज नंबर 14। इस तरह के भी सवाल आप कर चुके हैं पहले, जब सूडो कोड में हम कर रहे थे उस वक्त भी शायद इस तरह का कोई ना कोई किया होगा। अब सी प्लस प्लस के अंदर करना है। तो बैंक चार्ज कर रहा है $10 पर मंथ प्लस द फॉलोइंग चेक फीस किसी एक खास अकाउंट के लिए। अगर चेक्स की तादाद लेस देन 20 है तो $0.1 हर चेक है, 20 to 39 है तो इतनी है, एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ। और अगर बैलेंस आपका मंथली $400 से कम है तो एक एक्स्ट्रा $15 की फ़ी भी चार्ज करता है। तो इसके अंदर भी सिंपल इफ एल्स लगा के आपने इस प्रॉब्लम को अटैम्प्ट करना है। इनपुट वैलिडेशन भी करनी है, तो इसके मुताबिक वैलिडेट भी कर लीजिएगा इनपुट को। एंड थर्ड वन वाज रनिंग द रेस, प्रोग्राम चैलेंज नंबर 16। नाउ दिस वन इज इंटरेस्टिंग। राइट अ प्रोग्राम दैट आस्क्स फॉर द नेम ऑफ 3 रनर्स। तो ये जो नाम होंगे ये आपने स्ट्रिंग्स के तौर पे सेव करने हैं, और नामों में चूँकि स्पेसेस भी आ सकती हैं तो मेक श्योर दैट यू यूज़ गेट लाइन टू इनपुट नेम्स, जो सिंटेक्स हमने देखा हुआ है क्लास में। और बेसिकली हर रनर का नाम लेना है और उसके साथ उसको रेस ख़त्म करने में कितना टाइम लगा है, कोई डिस्टेंस कवर करने में कितना टाइम लगा है वो लेना है। तो टोटल 6 इनपुट्स होंगी और प्रोग्राम शुड डिस्प्ले हु केम इन फर्स्ट, सेकंड एंड थर्ड प्लेस। तो बेसिकली आपने उन तीनों नंबरों को, तीनों के जो टाइम हैं उनके मुताबिक उनके नाम और रनिंग टाइम भी डिस्प्ले करने हैं कि कौन जीता है रेस को, कौन सेकंड नंबर पे आया है और कौन थर्ड नंबर पे आया है। तो बेसिकली ये भी एक्चुअली इनके टाइम्स में से अगर आप देखें तो उन 3 नंबरों को आपने असेंडिंग ऑर्डर में सॉर्ट करना है और उसके मुताबिक उनके नाम आउटपुट करने हैं। सो असाइनमेंट के अंदर भी आपने इस तरह का सवाल किया हुआ है कि गिवन 3 नंबर्स आपने उसमें से उनको असेंडिंग ऑर्डर में प्रिंट करना है। तो ये भी उसी नोयत का सवाल है, सिर्फ डिफरेंस ये है कि इसमें अब उनके टाइम के साथ साथ उन रनर्स के नाम भी आ गए। बाकी चैप्टर 4 के जो आखिरी 2 सेक्शन है ये इंशाल्लाह अगले लेक्चर में कवर करेंगे, और उसके बाद चैप्टर 5 भी अगले लेक्चर के अंदर हम स्टार्ट कर लेंगे। उसकी रीडिंग